So how old were you when you started making diet changes?
Well, let's see.
Or did you make changes when you were 12 because you became a type 1 diabetic?
Well, no. So the only thing I started changing is that I start, the doctors, the diabetes doctors, they start telling you to count your carbohydrates. So I ate the same foods. They never made no information about doing anything healthier. It's always about trying to make a young diabetic feel like they can still do and still be normal and just be like everybody else. And so I was eating, standard American diet, but I was very diligent about counting the carbohydrates. And yeah, so I did that for probably a couple years. And then I think when I was 14 or so, that's when I slowly started to make changes. My dad was getting involved with a network marketing company that sold supplements. And it was just the beginning of my journey of just learning a little bit more. So when somebody told me, the soil is depleted, so you need supplements, and I read their pamphlets, like, oh my gosh, that makes sense. Everybody should be taking these supplements. And I started like pushing them. Actually, I won a scholarship from that company for writing an essay about going to school with my supplements. It was pretty funny. But anyways, so that was the beginning. And then I just started reading more books, and then you're reading a book that MSG is bad, so try and avoid foods with that, and add this additive and that additive, and this type of processed food, and then eventually got to the point of like, grass-fed beef is better than the normal beef, and raw dairy is better than pasteurized dairy. We didn't used to pasteurize our dairy, and it was just it was a slow progression, and then finally I came across you.
Yeah, well, I took a very long, circuitous 17-year route to even become aware of raw.
Mm.
So I understand what the slow transition is all about. And but you said something very interesting too. You used a phrase that the doctors really want you to feel normal, and it's true because they actually say to you, here, you just take these drugs and you can continue leading a normal life,
That's right.
as if the life you had been leading was really normal.
It's very sad. It really is. It's such, I find looking back on it now, I see it as a blessing, and it's such an opportunity when somebody gets diagnosed with something that say, hey, wow, this is a spark to change your life and actually make it better.
Right. There's the motive. You need some motivation? Here it is.
Yeah.
Wow. So, what got you interested in raw foods? Can you remember was there an actual trigger?
Yeah, so there was a trigger. So I was on a website forum, and it was like a high end website. It was called G Living at the time, and it was where people would go. I was in college at this time. People would go there to learn about, I don't know, like recycled wood furniture to put in their nice house or something, stuff like that. And the forum was full of people talking about high fat raw foods. And I just stumbled across the forum and was explaining to people why I was doing the Weston Price diet at this point, and I explained to people why I thought dairy and grass fed beef and all that stuff was really important for our health. And several people wrote back, and they were all very friendly, just sharing information. And somebody recommended that I watch the movie Earthlings. So I went and I watched it for free on Google Video right away. I've subsequently bought the movie because I got to support those guys. So I went and I watched the movie on Google Video, and it changed my life. And I walked away from that movie saying, these people know something that I don't know. So therefore, I'm going to go back to them, and I will now listen to what they have to say about the health advice. So I was just shocked. I'm a college student. I'm smart. I'm going to a recognized university, University of Florida. And how in the world did I not know about this is what we're doing to animals? This is where my food is coming from. It was totally mind blowing. So that opened up the door for me, and I started getting into Gabriel Cousins stuff. So his stuff pops up a lot when you get into raw foods and diabetes. And I tried his phase 1 program for 28 days and ended up taking the least amount of insulin I've ever taken, but not feeling well. And we can talk about that later.
Okay.
And then I I think, and then think I stumbled across your pod. At some point, I got involved with Frederick Patno and his stuff, which involved a lot of your teachings, and then Victoria Botanko and green smoothies. But somewhere along there, I heard the Steve Prusak podcast that you had, and it just made so much sense. It was unbelievable. And I pre-ordered your book. The 80-10-10 diet wasn't out yet,
Right.
and that's how I got into it.
So as a college student, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Uh, and so then 80-10-10, you got the book and you found out about, because I know you're very intense about, you want to find out all the information you possibly can. You research thoroughly, and how did your intro to 80-10-10 work for you?
So I ordered the book. I pre-ordered it. Got it right when it was out. I read it straight through, pretty much in one night, and then I contacted you, and we started doing a consultation. I mean, and that's what changed my life. I mean, we emailed every single day for like 90 days straight. We got to know each other pretty well, and I learned so much. And that was it. That was basically all I needed. And in the beginning, we we started out with just bananas for a week, and bananas and lettuce, and just that experience of eating that much fruit and seeing my insulin to carb ratio improve, and it was just so powerful, and feeling good and enjoying the food. It was amazing.
Do you remember being fearful of eating fruit back then?
Um, I don't think I was. I think at that point, after reading your book and hearing what you said, I was pretty convinced. The logic just resonated with me so much. And after how bad I felt on the Gabriel Cousins thing, because I did that, 100% full on, and based on just not feeling well, and then reading your stuff, and at that point, I'll tell you what. Here's another big thing. I had found a blog post from Cyrus Kambata, and
Yes.
he was actually one of the testimonials in your book. So I think that was a big factor in me being like, okay, wait, yeah, this is totally going to work for me. And I told my parents, look at this guy, and look at how fit he is. Look at so that was really helpful.
Cyrus is still super fit. Super
Yes,
fit.
yes, he is.
Oh my goodness. Um, and even to this day, I mean, now that was 9 years ago. Have you ever had a period where you just started questioning and going, "No, I'm kind of all this fruit. It can't work long term." Has anybody changed your mind about that, or is you still going strong?
No, I've never questioned it, not for a second.
Did you
I
ever?
always joke like the unhealthiest thing I think I've eaten is like arugula or something.